the young, and of physical infirmity in the old. Apprised, sir, of my daughter's sudden flight by her trusty maid, whose confidence I purchased by means of a small coin. I followed her at once by luggage train. Her unhappy father is, I am glad to say, under the false impression that she is attending a more than unusually lengthy lecture at the university on the influence of a permanent income on thought. I do not propose to undeceive him, but of course, Mr. Worthing, you understand that from this moment, all communication between yourself and my daughter shall cease. On this point, as indeed on all points, I am firm.
But, Lady Bracknell, I am engaged to Gwendolyn.
You, sir, are nothing of the kind. And as for Algernon.
Yes, Aunt Augusta?
May I ask, is this the house in which your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides?
No, Aunt Augusta. Bunbury does not live here. In fact, Bunbury is dead.
Dead? When did he die? This must have been extremely sudden.
Yes, I killed Bunbury this afternoon. Bunbury died this afternoon.
What did he die of?
The doctor said that Bunbury could no longer live. So Bunbury died.
He seems to have had great confidence in the opinion of his physicians. I'm glad, however, that he made up his mind at the last to some definite course of action. And now that we've got rid of this Mr. Bunbury, may I ask, Mr. Worthing, who is this young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is holding in what seems to be a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
Yes, Aunt Augusta. Cecily and I are engaged to be married.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Moncrief and I are engaged to be married.
I do not know if there is something peculiarly exciting in the air in this particular part of Colorama, but the number of engagements which goes on seems to me to be statistically above the average that the mathematicians have laid down for our guidance, and hence I think some preliminary inquiry on my part would not be out of place. Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew related to any of the larger railway stations in London? Before yesterday, I had no idea that there were any families or persons whose origin was a terminus.
Miss Cardew is the granddaughter of Mr. Thomas Cardew of 149 Logan Circle.
Sounds not unsatisfactory. Addresses always inspire confidence. What proof have I of their authenticity?
Miss Cardew's family solicitors are Markby, and Markby.
Markby, and Markby, a firm of the highest reputation in their profession, and indeed, one of the Mr. Markbys is occasionally to be seen at the Irish ambassador's residence. So far, I'm satisfied.
That is very generous of you, Lady Bracknell. And you'll be happy to know that I have certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, whooping cough, registration, immunization, and confirmation, and, measles, both of the German and English variety.
A life crowded with incident, I see. So perhaps a bit too exciting for a young girl. I myself am not in favor of premature experiences. Gwendolyn, the time for our departure draws nigh. As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I had better ask if Miss Cardew has any little fortune.
Well, I believe 130,000 pounds in the funds. Well, that'll be all. Goodbye. So pleasant to have seen you, Miss Bracknell.
A moment, Mr. Worthing. 130,000 pounds? Why? Miss Cardew seems to me to be a most attractive young lady. Now that I look at her, few girls of the present day have any really solid qualities. We live, I regret to say, in an age of surfaces. Come here, dear. Your dress is sadly simple, and your hair is as if nature might have left it. But we can soon alter all that. A thoroughly experienced French maid produces a marvelous result in a very short space of time. Indeed, I remember recommending one to the young Lady Lansing, and after 3 months, her own husband didn't know her.
And after 6 months, no one did.
Kindly turn round, sweet child. No, the side view is what I want. Just as I expected. There are distinct social possibilities in your profile. The 2 weak points of our age are its want of principle and its want of profile. Chin a little higher, dear. Style largely depends on the way the chin is worn, and the chin is worn very high just at present. Algernon.
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
There are distinct social possibilities in Miss Cardew's profile.
Aunt Augusta, Cecily's the prettiest, dearest, sweetest girl I ever met. And I don't care 2 pence about social possibilities.
Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that. My dear child, you know Algy has nothing to depend upon but his debts, and I do not approve of mercenary marriages. I myself had no fortune whatsoever when I married Lord Bracknell, but I never dreamed of allowing that to stand in my way. Well, I guess I must give my consent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell.
Child, you may also call me Aunt Augusta for the future, and I think the marriage had better take place quite soon.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
To speak frankly, I am not in favor of long engagements. They give people the opportunity of finding out each other's character before marriage, which I think is never advisable.
Pardon me for interrupting, Lady Bracknell, but this engagement is completely out of the question. I am Miss Cardew's guardian, and as such, I get a say of her marriage, and I refuse this marriage.
Upon what grounds, may I ask? Algernon is an extremely, I may say, an ostentatiously eligible young man. He has nothing, but he looks everything. What more could one ask for?
Pains me very much to have to speak frankly to you about your nephew, but I do not at all approve of his moral character. This afternoon, while I was away in the city on an important matter of romance, he gained access to my residence under the false assumption of being my brother, and under an assumed name he drank, I'm told by my butler, an entire pint bottle of my Pierre Joulet Brut 89.
Mr. Worthing, upon careful consideration, I've decided to completely overlook my nephew's conduct towards you.
It's very generous of you, Lady Bracknell, but my own decision is unalterable. I refuse to give my consent.
Come here, dear. How old are you, child?
Well, I'm 18, but I pretend to be 20 at the evening parties.
You are quite right to make some slight alteration. Indeed, no woman should ever be quite accurate about her age. It looks so calculating.
Pardon me for interrupting again, Lady Bracknell, but it's only fair to tell you that according to the terms of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not come of age until she is 35.
That does not sound unsatisfactory. 35 is a very attractive age. While London society is filled with women of the very highest birth who have, of their own free choice, remained 35 for years.
Algy,
Yes,
could you wait for me until I was 35?
you know I could.
Yes, I knew you would say yes, but I can't. I can't wait 5 minutes for anything.
Millennials. My dear Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew has positively stated she cannot wait until she is 35, I would beg of you to reconsider your decision.
But Lady Bracknell, the matter is completely in your hands. As soon as you allow my marriage to Gwendolyn, I will allow a union between your nephew and my ward.
You realize that what you ask is impossible.
Then a passionate celibacy is all that all of us can look forward to.
Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christening, sir, is that not somewhat premature?
Both these gentlemen have expressed a desire for immediate baptism.
At their age, Algernon, I forbid you to be baptized. I will not hear of such excesses.
Am I to understand, then, that there are to be no christenings at all this afternoon?
I apologize, sir, but as things are now, I don't think it would do either of us very much good.
I am grieved to hear such sentiments from you, Mr. Worthing. They savor of the heretical views of the Anabaptists, views that I have completely refuted in 4 of my unpublished sermons. However, as your present mood seems to be one peculiarly secular, I will return to the church at once. Indeed, I have just been informed by the pew opener that for the last hour and a half, Miss Prism has been waiting for me there in the vestry.
Prism? Did you say a Miss Prism?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I'm on my way to join her.
Pray allow me to detain you for a moment. This may be a matter of vital importance to Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism a woman of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
She is the most cultivated of ladies, the very picture of respectability.
It must be the same person. May I ask what position she holds in your household?
I am celibate, madam. More or less.
Lady Bracknell, Miss Prism has, for the last 3 years, been Miss Cardew's esteemed governess and valued companion.
In spite of what I hear of her, I must see her at once. Let her be sent for.
She approaches. She is nigh.
I was told you expected me in the vestry, dear Canon. I have been waiting for you there for an hour and 3/4.
Prism! Woo! Come here, Prism. Prism, where is that baby? 35 years ago, Prism, you left Lord Bracknell's house, number 104, Upper Wisconsin Avenue, in charge of a perambulator containing a baby of the male sex. You never returned. After weeks of elaborate investigations by the Metropolitan Police, the perambulator was discovered by itself, standing at midnight in a remote corner of Cleveland Park. The perambulator contained a manuscript of a 3-volume novel of more than unusually revolting sentimentality. The baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I admit with shame that I do not know. I only wish I did. The plain facts of the case are these. On the morning of the day you mention, a day that is forever branded in my memory, I prepared, as usual, to take the baby out in the perambulator. I had also with me a somewhat old but capacious handbag, into which I intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction I had written during my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction, for which I never can forgive myself, I placed the manuscript in the bassinet and the baby in the handbag.
Miss Prism, where did you leave the handbag?
Do not ask me, Mr. Worth.
Prism, this is a matter of no small importance to me. I insist on knowing where you left the baby in the handbag.
In the cloakroom of one of the larger railway stations in the city.
Which railway station?
Union Station, the Red Line.
I must retire to my room. Whoa! Didn't mean to do that, apologize. Will you wait for me?
If you're not too long, I will wait here for you all my life.
Yeah.
I dare not say what this means, Dr. Chasuble. In and strange coincidences are not supposed to occur.
Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated.
Your guardian has a very emotional nature.
I wish he would arrive at some conclusion.
The suspense is dreadful. I hope it will last.
Mr. Prism, I'm taking the path now. Is this the handbag? Now, examine it carefully before you speak. The happiness of more than one life depends on your answer.
It seems to be mine. Yes. Here's the injury it received through the upsetting of a Connecticut Avenue Metro bus in younger and happier days. And here, on the lining, is the stain it received through the upsetting of a temperance beverage. And here on the lock are my initials. I had forgotten that in an extravagant mood I had had them placed here. The bag is undoubtedly mine. It's a delight to have it so unexpectedly restored to me. It's been a great inconvenience being without it all these years.
Miss Prism, more is restored to you than this handbag. I was the infant you placed in it.
You?
Yes, Mother.
Mr. Worthing, I am unmarried.
Oh, Mother, I forgive you. Mother.
Oh, Mr. Worthing, there is some error. There is the lady who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Bracknell, I apologize if I seem inquisitive, but could you tell me who I am?
Mr. Worthing, I fear that what I have to tell you will not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor departed sister, Mrs. Moncrief. Look, we have the same hair. Oh. And consequently, you are Algernon's elder brother.
Algy's elder brother! I always thought I had a brother. I knew I had a brother. I said I had a brother. Cecily, how could you ever doubt me when I said I had a brother? Oh, Algy, you scoundrel. You've never been a brother to me in all your life.
Well, I admit, not until today, old boy.
My own one, but what own are you? What is your Christian name now that you're somebody else?
Oh, yes, good heavens, I nearly forgot. Well, I suppose the matter of my name is in your hands.
I never change, except in my affections.
What a noble nature you have, Gwendolyn.
Well, I suppose the matter should be cleared up at once. Lady Bracknell, Aunt Augusta, when Miss Prism left me in the handbag at Union Station on the Red Line, had I been christened yet?
Every luxury that money could buy, including christening, was lavished upon you by your fond and doting parents.
That settles it, then. I was christened. What was the name I was given? Let me know the worst.
Being the eldest child, naturally you were christened after your father.
And what was my father's Christian name?
I can't recall at present what the general's first name was, but I have no doubt that he had one. He's very eccentric, I must admit, but that was the result of the Indian climate and marriage and indigestion and other things of that kind.
Algy, do you remember our father's Christian name?
I don't know, we really weren't on speaking terms. He died before I was 1.
Well, I suppose that his name would be listed in the army list of persons at the time, Aunt Augusta.
Yes, the general was essentially a man of peace, except in his domestic life, but his name should appear in any military directory.
The army military list of the last 40 years is here. This wonderful statue. Yes, this should have been my constant study for many, many years. Let's look at the generals under M. Maxby, Malley, Biggie. God, what awful names they have. Malum, Mobbs, Moncrief. Lieutenant, 1840. Captain. Lieutenant Colonel. Colonel, General, 1869. Christian names. Earnest John. Gwendolyn. Didn't I always tell you my name was Earnest? Well, of course it is. Naturally, it has to be.
Yes, I recall the General's first name was Earnest. I knew there was a reason I disliked that name.
My own Earnest. I felt from the first you could have no other name.
Gwendolyn, darling, it's a terrible thing for a man to suddenly realize that all his life he's done nothing but tell the truth. Can you ever forgive me?
I can't, for I feel you are sure to change.
Oh, Gwendolyn! Letitia!
Frederick! At last!
Cecily, at last! Yes, enough of that. Gwendolyn, at last!
My nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I realized for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest.
Director.
And our director, Steve Wilde. The Picnic Theater Company, DC Professionals by Day, Thespians by Night. All the proceeds go to charity of our performances, our cultural exchange. We're at Woodlawn Mansion in Alexandria tomorrow and the DuPont Underground on Saturday to benefit those venues. But we want to thank Ambassador Mulhall for